Hey everybody, welcome to another Reel Debaters production. I am Micheal Petrow. Joining me on the virtual living room this week, in the virtual living room, on it is just uncomfortable. It's square. In the virtual living room this week is Martin Navarro, Rob Strachan, and special guest Colin Lougheed. I've been bugging Colin for months to come on the show, and finally my Chinese water torture worked. I won. No, Colin came at his own accord. We had a blast. Colin's love of movies and nerd culture just kind of fits like the perfect missing Lego piece here. So that's who you're going to be listening to. What are we talking about? I came up with a little ditty that is inspired by the most commercialized holiday of the year. That is it, ladies and gentlemen, Valentine's Day, which is right around the corner. We're crushing on movie characters and planning weekend getaways. That's what we're arguing. So pick your movie character crush. Plan a 3-day weekend getaway with them using tropes and smooth moves and fun days and ideas from any other romantic movie you can think of. Best romantic, sexy, fun, weird weekend wins. Ta-da. I can tell you, I regret everything. So that's the show. Where you can find out more about the show. To anybody who's new here, thereeldebaters.ca. It's a one-stop shop. You can follow the podcast through every way, shape, and form that we have tried to find access to. You can take a look at our ugly mugs. You can find out a little bit more about us. You can read the blog. All of that stuff is there at thereeldebaters.ca. Our thank yous to our top 5 north of the border go to our hometown of Winnipeg, Vancouver, Brandon, Delta, and Toronto. Our top 5 south of the border. Come on, MacBook. There we go. Washington, San Jose, San Francisco, Southington, and Cedar Grove. We love everybody who listens to us here, but we're just noticing pockets of you popping up everywhere as of late. So just want to point the love in that direction specifically. So whoever's spreading the word or saying these guys are worth your time, thank you very much from everybody here. I got nothing else for you, so we hope you enjoy our little Valentine's Day Massacre, as it's so affectionately titled. This was a lot of fun. Colin's a blast. He's a super big nerd, as mentioned, and just entertained us. When we let him get the floor, it was pretty much all eyes on Colin. So I'm just happy that you get that out of all of this. Ladies and gentlemen, I will cue the reel, and you enjoy the show.
Let's tidy up this tangle of film by putting it on a reel. Here is a motion picture film, 1,000 feet, 16,000 separate photographs.
Welcome everyone to the official space section of the charcter.
The truth! You can't handle the truth! Sir, you're out of order. Out of order? I show you out of order!
Alrighty then. Let's start this shit. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Reel Debaters. Another Reel Debaters production, if you will. This week, in the living room, we've got Rob Strachan, we've got Martin Navarro, and we have special guest who I've been annoying since we started this thing to come on the show, and he's finally said yes, and I'm so appreciative of it. Colin Lougheed. Hello, Colin.
Hello, I'm annoying too.
It's so nice to finally actually talk to you after a couple weeks, a couple months, because we haven't seen each other. But I've been living vicariously through your songs that you've been writing, which is such a fucking, like, it takes the COVID blues away as soon as I see it.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Boredom is good for creativity, I guess, right?
Yeah, all the people who could build shit did stuff to their homes, and all the nerds who couldn't started creating shit that they've been doing for months. And this is the byproduct, and I fucking love it. For Martin and Rob, who maybe haven't seen them, because I don't know if you get to see them through my Facebook page, but Colin did
I follow Colin on Facebook, so I see some of his vids.
Okay, so Martin, I think, just to kind of give Colin some backdrop, did it start with the Cav Club? Is that really where your video skills started to kind of take off?
First of all, I wouldn't use skills, and secondly, I don't know. I guess it kind of varies. Like I don't really have any rhyme or reason to it. But the song thing started because like my dad and I used to do Movember things, and then we just thought we were going to just change this one up to be more specific to like healthcare workers and stuff. So we called it Covember, and then just because I had been doing a lot of like COVID specific song parodies, it just kind of that's why the song thing started, I guess.
Okay. They're great. And then finally somebody was like, I've had enough. Colin needs a song made about him. And some dude made one about you recently.
Yeah, my friend Jim did that. And actually, I think he just decided to do that because he realized that like he really let himself go in terms of grooming, and then just all of a sudden started looking like me, and so made the song. So it's like an absolute compliment, but at the same time, I think he was kind of like disappointed that it happened, because he's like, oh my god, what happened to me? So it was great. And actually, like I posted something the other day, and a friend of mine all of a sudden just said that they don't know whether it was Jim or me anymore. So I guess it was effective.
I agree. Rob, did you see it? Could you tell a difference between the two? Because there's some shots where I'm like, is Colin parodying himself?
I actually haven't seen this video, but after the podcast, I will definitely go do a deep dive.
Deep cut.
He's a very funny and handsome guy as well. So it was actually an absolute honor to have him do it.
Oh, I love how you threw handsome and funny in there in the same sentence. Oh, the dangling modifier joke. It's the best. Okay, so Colin, we've gone back to our roots here on the show. I know I was explaining this to you beforehand, and it's pretty simple. The four of us like to get together and talk about what we've watched, to share our opinions and our ideas on anything that's watchable these days. So to kind of give you the rhyme or reason of this, Martin's going to start us off and tell us what the fuck you watched this week.
I haven't. I'll be honest. I didn't really watch a lot of things this week. I didn't really actually watch anything this week. I've been reading. Is that okay if I talk about what I've been reading?
Well, you could be reading. Well, no. It's actually fine.
Yeah, because it's cool as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just started reading the graphic novel series, The Sandman. So I bought the volume 1 just last week, and I've been powering through it. I've actually almost finished volume 1 and bought volume 2, which is now in my house. So I have volume 2 ready to go. So I've downed about, I think, 500 of the 600 pages in volume 1. So I'll probably be finishing volume 1 today. Great series if you haven't read it, written by Neil Gaiman. I guess he also wrote American Gods as well. But it's DC. Picked it up, and I think the one thing that I love about it is because it's DC, the comic book has a lot of little touches to the DC universe, which is awesome. So, and I know I wanted to start reading it because I know Netflix is coming out with a series soon, like a live action series based on the Sandman comics. And the one thing that I wish that DC took the Marvel approach to it, like the MCU approach to it, because the Sandman is a great opportunity to kind of bring all those realms together, sort of thing. And but if you haven't read the graphic novel, take a read. It's pretty awesome. I'm hooked on it. Like I said, I just started last week, and I've already spent like $200 on two volumes.
Jesus, they're that expensive. And like
the digital. Just get the digital. Digital's cheap. If you can get them on your phone or iPad, digital's like, I think you could buy volume 1. They're not cheap digital.
No, you don't buy digital, man. You need to touch the paper.
Oh yeah.
This is a graphic novel, my friend.
Also, too, it
was a comic.
Yeah.
It needs a tactile feel.
I'm just saying, if it's COVID, people are kind of hard on the budget. So if you're hard on the budget, go for the digital. But I mean, I like the books. Like they look like they're leather bound books, and they're like Bibles. They're big books.
Do they smell like rich mahogany?
They smell like rich mahogany.
Stole my comment.
It makes me look smarter when I put them in my apartment. But when the people open them, like, oh, they're picture books. I'm like, yeah.
You know what, man? People just got to spend the money they were going to spend to go to Mexico or to Vegas.
That's what I did.
Buy some fucking Sandman books.
It's good, man. I mean, I think there's like 5 or maybe more volumes. So
everyone deserves leather-bound books on their bookshelf. Like, if you haven't invested in at least 5 to 6, leather-bound books, by the time you're 30, there's something wrong with your life. You need to reevaluate shit.
Check the box that says leather-bound books on my shelf, ladies and gentlemen. I think that's even in like a GQ top 10 list, is must-have leather-bound books. It's cool that you mentioned it, though, because it is one of those, like, Twilight series, fuck that book to movie shit. And like, I mean...
You don't like glittering vampires?
No, I like my vampires.
They sparkle, not glitter.
Yeah.
It would be nice. Why are you bedazzled in the sun?
My vampire, okay? I like pale white. I like creepy. I like from New Orleans. And
Give me Lestat all day.
I mean, glistening vampires that drive Volvos in Seattle. I mean, there's nothing more creepy than that.
No, there's also nothing more hipster than that. But whatever. So like,
I drive a Volvo. I'm not a hipster.
no, I just mean in that combination. Yeah, we know you're not a hipster. You're fine. But like, the cool thing is that it's now being cast into a series on Netflix, as you mentioned, Martin. And I know Charles Dance and Gwendolyn Pierce, both from Game of Thrones history, are in the show, which I believe there was some chatter a couple years ago about Netflix going after the Game of Thrones type show, and nobody really knew what it was. It just kind of came out. They were like, Netflix wants to make the next Game of Thrones, and they're looking and looking and looking. I think this is it, and we're gonna get like with The Witcher being what it is and what it's done and how well they did it. The Sandman, I think, is not equal to Game of Thrones, but it's that big epic story from a book that lots of people know, from a recognized writer, a guy who does graphic novels. So you get the cool factor as well. Like, there's a lot going on with this Sandman series that I think is not really known right now. And when it comes to light, people are gonna be like, "Fuck yes."
I would disagree. I would say Prime's Wheel of Time that's going to come out later this year.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
That's
Robert
the
Jordan.
next Game of Thrones.
Okay.
But that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, no, sure.
I think he just means epic series, like kind of an.
Yeah, like I need something based on 14 novels where everything's 1,000 pages and there's like 900 fucking characters and magic. Sign me up.
Yeah, no, it's the new David Fincher crime thing for Netflix, right? Like, they've kind of stumbled upon something. Colin, what do you know about Sandman? Is it something you're looking forward to?
I've always meant to read Sandman, and I've known about it since the '90s, and I've just never committed to it. But it's something that I definitely, that's on like the Vertigo line, right? Like the sort of some of that alt DC stuff. But
Yep.
I would love to check into that at some point. I'm glad you reminded me of it, and I could use more leather-bound books. I have one leather-bound book, and all it is a collection of Don Martin cartoons from Mad magazine.
Oh, cool.
That's cool.
And like, and I remember like trying to like read it before bed one night, and I like it's so fucking heavy, and I dropped it on my own face. So like, I don't know if I can commit to leather bound, but I will definitely commit to reading that series at some point.
Like, does the book need to be like sub 8 pounds? Is that like your threshold?
I think so. It also needs to be like, it's also awkward to read in the bathroom, right? If it's crushing your legs, it's awkward, and so I guess I'll need something a little more.
The extra weight pushes down and causes pins and needles to occur quicker.
That's right. My leg goes to sleep in like 90 seconds.
And Rob, you just took my comment, so now we're even.
I'll say this, like the volume 1 edition that I've been reading, when I'm reading on my couch, there's definitely a bigger butt imprint on my couch because I'm holding it and reading it on my lap. So there's bigger ones than that. So yeah, it's heavy. It's heavy.
Oh, that's funny. The shit that Martin put on Facebook this week, man, did you make me laugh? He was like, my phone doesn't recognize the word shave. Like, the autocorrect doesn't recognize. And I was like, yeah, because your phone has facial recognition and you have no facial hair. So why the fuck would it understand the word shave?
I shave once a month. That's it. Like it's a desert here. That's it. I just shave once a month.
That's a fucking intelligent AI, man.
Yeah.
Right?
Or I just never use the word shave on my phone ever.
I know, because Martin, you'd said Rob
What
bench.
about shaved testicles?
Ooh, I trimmed. I don't shave. That's
Man, if Manscaped's listening, this is a great time to sponsor it.
I get so many ads from Manscaped. I'm like, God, how
I can use
fast do
a
you think
new
my
nostril
dick should go?
trimmer.
Totally. I mean, I got some hair that needs trimming, not gonna lie. But when Martin brought up the Sandman in the chat group and was like, yeah, Mark's got it, I think because a buddy of his at work gave it to him. And Rob, you have it, right?
Yeah, a few years ago, I was at Comic-Con here, and one of the guys at the booth had the whole series in a box, so I bought the whole thing.
As you do, yeah.
How much, if you don't mind me asking?
I can't remember. I think I spent like $300.
That's cheap because I'm about to spend probably each volume is around 130.
But yours are leather bound,
Yeah,
and
they're
you have
leather
the
bound, yeah.
convenience of not finishing one 12-page comic and then having to put it back in the plastic and put it back in the box and then pull out the next one. So you're paying for convenience, which I get.
That's true. That's true. They're heavy though.
The leather adds $400.
I guess
right
so.
away.
Yeah.
It's because it's from some rare animal that's not supposed to be,
Hunted.
hunted. So they have to wait for it to just randomly die someplace.
The writing in it, I won't spoil. I'll just say one quick thing about it in terms of the writing. It's just the way he writes is really really brilliant because there's one in volume one. There's one chapter that kind of touches on serial killers, and I don't know if you guys ever watch Mindhunter.
Oh yeah.
The way he writes in that, and this came out way before this came out in the 80s, right? So this was before I even knew anyone knew about it. It was mainstream. The way he describes it in the comic is just the way they do it in Mindhunter in the series and the interviews that they had with actual serial killers of the way the serial killer mind works. It was brilliant. I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like this was before like this stuff came mainstream and stuff like that, like true crime and all that shit.
So like, you're definitely behind the fact that if you're going to enjoy the series, you should read the book because you were all about Game of Thrones
And it,
book and
yeah,
everything we didn't know, and you.
and it's not just DC that he touches on. He touches on everything. Like so far, like in volume one, he's touched on different points. Like he touches on famous authors throughout history and stuff like that. And you're just like, holy shit.
You don't think that people might be disappointed though, because like I read Preacher before and I don't really like the Preacher TV series.
Yeah, that's the one thing my
And I was
reservation is that a lot of the dialogue is internal in the graphic novel. So that, how do you bring that onto the screen? That internal dialogue. That's the one part that I'm like, I'm kind of iffy about it, but I don't know.
I feel like audiences are more patient though with like kind of like the narration in the background that would be his thoughts, so maybe it would work.
Yeah, and he's already got like, I mean, Preacher and the Devil one too, because I heard the Devil Lucifer or whatever TV show it is based off of the character from Sandman, and there's that show. But then I watch American Gods, and American Gods is very similar to the book. So I think it really depends on the production house that's doing it and how closely they're working with Gaiman, because he may have sold the rights to one of those and been like, meh, I don't care what you do with it. I made money.
I think though with Sandman's his baby though.
Yes, which is why I'm
And
saying this is going to be very involved.
so I feel like he's gonna have George R. Martin kind of
Very
like
hands-on.
influence on stuff.
Yeah.
From both like the writing perspective, the screenplay, the set design, to the overall show running. So I think he's gonna be very hands-on.
Let's just hope he doesn't take like the last two seasons of Game of Thrones approach, and George R. R. Martin's like, do whatever you want.
But Sandman's done though, right? So I
That's
mean,
true.
it's not like well, do we have an extra 12 years for him to write 3 books?
Rob, what'd you watch this week, buddy?
I am continuing my hardcore binge of fucking Outlander.
Still on? Okay.
And it first started off with just like Michelle, watching a show with Michelle and only kind of half paying attention. And now I'm like really into it, It's more than just softcore porn.
Okay, good, because that's all I've heard.
Nothing wrong with softcore porn. I mean, sometimes you want to use your imagination.
But it's crazy how brutal the 1700s actually were, because you think back and you're like, it's only about 300 years ago, 250 years ago, like humans were pretty civilized. and you're just like, holy fuck, like it's not an ideal place for most people. Like if you're poor, if you're a woman, or basically if you're not a white male, you're fucked, right? And but I really like the historical stuff. I like how they kind of tied in with kind of key history points and things like that. I remember when I was a kid, we'd go visit my grandparents in Nova Scotia, and we'd always go tour like the Citadel and Louisbourg, and those forts and fortresses are kind of from that era. So I don't know. I'm kind of into that. I started watching The Never-Ending Story this morning. I tried to get Lucy into it. She was really into it at all the parts where Atreyu's riding at
Artak.
What's the horse's name?
Artak.
Sorry, I'm brain farting. She was like, but then we got into the Swamp of Sorrow, and then Artax dies, and then she didn't like that very much, so we turned that shit off.
Dude, that destroyed a generation of kids. That was so traumatic to see that horse die, and you're just like, the horse is dying because he's depressed.
Well, I shut it off before that happened, so she was that's just like when they were getting stuck, and luckily she kind of was like not paying attention, so it all kind of worked out timing wise. I really need to watch WandaVision. I really need to watch the second season of Mandalorian. and fuck, man, blown away. Not the Jeff Bridges movie, but the fucking cool show on Netflix keeps popping up like there, and I keep seeing it, and I need to watch that too. But I gotta. Michelle and I have this thing. Once we start like a series like this, we're like become obsessed, and this is all we watch, and we're stuck in that like cycle right now. I had the same problem with Gossip Girl a couple months ago too.
I love how you'll commit. Like even though you're probably like if you read about it yourself, you'd be like, meh, but like Michelle puts it on and you're like, all right, I'm in. And then you commit to finishing it, which me and Shauna don't do. Like we're like 15 minutes. We'll judge a book by its cover hard. And then I'm like, I'm out. I don't want to go back to this. And there's some that we've missed on and we've gone back to and been like, what were we thinking? What the fuck?
Well, the production value of Outlander is really high. Like it's filmed 100% 4K. It's filmed on site. It's a Stars production. Like it's mega money. Like, I mean, the
Is there
wardrobe.
nudity?
Pardon?
Is there nudity in it?
Oh yeah.
Because Stars, I know Stars always has nudity.
Yeah.
Lots of titties.
Okay.
Lots of dudes' butts. It's got the whole smorgasbord.
Has it got titties? Martin's like, has it got titties? I need.
that was for Under Siege. That was for Under Siege yesterday on Beaver's podcast. That was Under Siege.
Oh, that
I
was.
knew
Another
exactly the
reason you
moment.
watch it, you're
where
like,
the nude scene was.
you watch the birthday cake scene, and then you're like, all right, I'm done. I don't need
Mike
to watch the
Mike
rest.
was jumping the gun for the
Oh,
birthday cake. I'm like, no, it's not for another like half an hour, Mike. Just calm down. It's still like half an hour away.
When you're watching Under Siege, though, if you're gonna watch two scenes, you watch the birthday cake scene, you watch the cool knife fight in the kitchen, and then you watch the scene where he rips out the guy's larynx.
Yeah.
No, we did all those. It was fantastic. Colin, is any of that? I mean, we've all seen the never-ending story here, so we've all got a Falcor or Betrayal the Sadness moment. But have you tripped on Outlanders at all? Because more and more people I hear talking about this show.
I have not seen Outlander, but my mom is obsessed with Outlander, and like
So is mine.
once in a while, like I'll just find a meme that I don't understand, and I'll just send it to her, and she'll be like, "LOL, LOL," and I'll be like, "I don't even know what that means." I'm glad you enjoy it, but I do know like I feel like I should know more about it just because like I still I get Entertainment Weekly as a subscription, an actual physical magazine. Crazy, right? But
I still get 3. I still get 3 myself.
That's good to know. But anyway, but Entertainment Weekly, I think once every month does an Outlander special. It's always Outlander coverage. And there's people on the cover. I have no idea who they are. I'll read every single article and I've retained nothing. But someday it's almost like it's punching me in the face. Like I should probably give this. My mom too is punching me in the face. I should probably watch this goddamn show eventually.
It's definitely a boomer ladies show. Like, you know, I think that's really like I think who like jumped on this, and I think now that it's on Netflix, I think it's expanding to a wider audience.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Is it similar to Sleepless in Seattle?
I was gonna say it's more like the Clan of the Bear Cave novels. That's kind of what it's kind of cut from. That kind of cloth.
How many seasons, Robin? How many episodes a season?
There's 5 seasons. They're filming season 6, and there's 9 books.
Holy!
How many episodes in one season?
Anywhere between 12 and 17.
Oh, that's a lot. 17.
Oh my God! That's
16. I think the first season's 16. The second one's like 14, and then it goes like 13, 12, 12.
Yeah.
I just want to have an episode now where Colin does watch it, and then he puts all the pieces together from all the memes and things he's made jokes on, where he's like, "Oh, this meme I sent, now I get it, and it's fucking awesome." That's what I want.
I'm gonna watch.
That's like a 3-month social media campaign right there.
I'm gonna watch it with like a stack of like 58 Entertainment Weeklies. Get the inside story on each scene.
that's
The main character's name is Jamie Fraser.
Yes,
So-
familiar.
and then it's Claire Fraser. Those are the 2 main characters.
Sweet. Well, I wish Jimmy was here because he could probably back me up on some of this stuff. But I went down a little bit of a horror rabbit hole. I watched The Vanished, which is the new Anne Heche, Thomas Jane thriller on Netflix, which is really good. Like with Netflix's promise of, you know, a movie a week for the next year, it's honestly a good start to this promise. It's about a couple who lose their daughter when they go on a cross-country camping trip in their camper. And they pull into this small town, and everybody in this small town has got a history, and you're led to believe that everybody's history has something to do with the disappearance of this child, and you're completely wrong once you come to the end of the movie. It was one of those, like, last 3 minutes, all is revealed. Thomas Jane is weird as all hell. Anne Hesh has toe thumbs, I noticed. Not that that had anything to do with
Like
her.
Megan Fox toe thumbs?
Megan Fox toe thumbs. Anne Hesh has the same condition, so my heart goes out to
I'm
her.
into it. I'm not gonna
Really?
lie, guys, I'm into it. Yeah, I just saw a picture of Megan Fox the other day with toe thumbs or not. I'm still into it.
That's, I mean, nothing against her. She was great in it. She was like, she played the I'm missing my daughter crazy mom role really good.
What month did this come out, Mike? Is it February or January?
Ago.
2 weeks ago?
Yeah, like Jimmy mentioned it in the chat group that he watched it, and he was like, "It's really good." And I was like, "I just started it." Patrick, what the hell's his name?
This isn't to be confused with the Hayden Christensen movie, The Vanishing.
No, this is the Vanish. So,
Or not Vanishing Point?
yeah, no, not vanish. It's past tense. It's not current. It's not present. It's past tense. They have vanished. And then I also watched Green Room for the first time with Anton Yelchin and Sir Patrick Stewart. I thought it was a really weird German horror movie subtitled. It's not. It takes place in Portland. And I was sorely mistaken. And it's about a punk band who really doesn't have that big of a social media presence. And they travel around the country playing these shows. And they end up playing for a bunch of like skinhead, racist Nazi punks. And everything goes to shit that possibly could. One of them gets killed. There's drugs involved. Sir Patrick Stewart's like the chief Nazi of them all. It's violent. It's scary. It's shocking. It's sad that Anton Yelchin got crushed by a Jeep because, like, that kid really had a career ahead of him with playing Scotty on the Star Trek remakes and
I feel his time is gonna come still. I think I don't think he gets appreciated enough. And you're right. Like, I mean, sure, we know him as Scotty, but I mean, he's doing an impersonation, right? Like,
yeah,
he's so good in like did you ever see the
Dog?
remake?
What
The Fright remake is amazing, and he's so good in it. I think he's gonna get more appreciation soon.
Yeah, like posthumously, I think he could have Heath Ledger status because it just like this movie is about a rock band and he's clearly the talent. Like he's the lead guitarist and there's these weird rules that these Nazis live by. Like they're not allowed to use guns and they're only allowed to use dogs to hunt with. Like there's this underbelly story that I don't want to ruin if you really want to watch it. But both of them were like, I was like, they're on Prime. And I was like, okay, well, one's on Netflix, one's on Prime. And I'm like, I'm going to keep the promise I made to myself, which was watch shit without investigating it. And both of them paid dividends 2-3 times over. So if you haven't seen either of them or you're wanting a new movie to watch for that matter, I like Thomas Jane. The Expanse, Thomas Jane. There's another movie that he did with Jeremy.
Don't you love Punisher?
Yeah. Yeah, black hair Punisher. I fucking loved him in it. And that's like, I think that's the closest we're going to get to a decent Punisher performance. I mean, Joel Barenthal in the Punisher series was good, but they didn't really.
What about Dolph Lundgren in 1989's The Punisher?
What about him?
It's amazing.
Anyways, those are the two things that I watched this week. So, and both of them I would watch. Like, if we've got a little rating system here, Colin, where we're like, would you watch it on a plane? Would you watch it in the background? Would you watch it while you're fucking? Like, how would you enjoy this movie? And I would safely say that these are good, like, sit down, get some snacks, dedicate an evening to movies.
I would be so disturbed if you told me that you watched that last movie while you were fucking.
You don't know Mike's fetish.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a scene where a guy gets split up the gut with a box cutter and he just gets unfolded like a blanket. And it's really gruesome and it's really good special effects.
I've seen it. It is a scary movie for sure.
Right. And it doesn't have like it's scary because these are evil humans that like it's got the same element as The Strangers has with Liv Tyler and Scott Speedman, where like these people have no intention of doing anything but the most evil thing to you because they want to. And that's what this movie has going for it. You're like, why are you doing this? Why are you being a dick? So watch those.
Oh, I want to just
Yeah.
because you brought up Netflix. Netflix is what do you call it? Their promise of one good movie a month.
Or like
Uh,
one major release a month.
yeah.
Like,
Okay, so I didn't watch it this week, but I watched it 2 weeks ago. I guess this is right after the last show we did, last debate we did, I guess. So I did like for mine, for my January, it was The Dig. I believe I told us in the chat group as well. That Ralph Fiennes and is it Carey Mulligan and Louis
It is Rafe Fiennes.
but like that was a great movie. I thought that was, if they were promising one, that's my one that I think is a hit. The acting was amazing. The story was pretty good. It's just about people, everyday people, dealing with everyday shit, but during a time where big events were going to happen. Like it takes place right before World War II, in a small town in England, and people are going about their lives, and they have to deal with the normal drama that normal people feel, but the country is at the brink of war, so they still have to deal with that as well. So if you haven't checked it out, check it out. It's an amazing film too.
Colin, what'd you watch this week, buddy?
Well, going into this, I felt a lot of pressure to try to come up with something that you guys haven't seen. But I'm going to bring up this one because I know, Mike, at one point you also mentioned something about wanting to immerse yourself in more animation. So I just watched the first episode. It's called Kid Cosmic on Netflix, and it's a new show from his name is Craig McCracken, and he's the creator of the original Powerpuff Girls, and he's got a lot of fun shows. His last show is the show called Wander Over Yonder, which was on, I don't know if it's on Disney Plus. I should double check, but it was amazingly funny. But anyway, this is his new show is on Netflix. I think it's about 7 episodes. I've only seen the first one there, and it's about a group of people in a small town who are subjected to superpowers. Somewhat.
They're going to say they do a lot of M.
No. And I think if you know this guy's show, it's definitely different in terms of its style. It's graphically different. They have a lot of really detailed comic booky backgrounds. So I don't know, like I didn't immediately love it, but I'm gonna definitely stick with it just because I don't think Craig McCracken has ever done anything that I've disliked. But it seems fun.
This animation style is, like you said, Powderpuff Kids. This is very reminiscent.
Powerpuff Girls.
Sorry. But I
It
love
looks awesome.
it.
You'll see, like, there's when they do some of the close-ups, like you'll see that they some scenes are like, there's comic book sensibilities here, because you can see, like, when they'll do close-ups of backgrounds, that there's like little dots that you can see in the coloring, like you would on if you looked really closely at a comic book, right? So it's it looks really cool. I just
the Cowboy Wizard.
What's that? Sorry?
I like the Cowboy Wizard.
Yeah, he's cool. I like the fact that they have the cat's name, I believe, is Tuna Sandwich.
That's
It's kind of like the movie Blow, right? Like his buddy's called Tuna.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I just give thumbs up to anything that has a name of tuna somehow.
Or The Office, they used to call Jim Big Tuna, or that's what Ed Helms used to call him, Big Tuna.
Yeah, right. It's cool. Give it a shot.
I'm sold, because I just need I need the vessel, right? Like right now we're feeding our cats their medication through like hiding them in treats. That's what I need. I need somebody to hide a show inside of a treat, inside of a cheeseburger, and then I'll get that show and I'll like it instead of having to choose it. And I think you may have sold me on my
Netflix is getting more and more into animated properties. I'm finding they're like, I mean, they did the Matt Groening's Disenchanted, which it's not my favorite, but I enjoyed it for what it was. And I'm also watching a show on Netflix now it's called Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous.
Yes.
Is that good?
And it's actually surprisingly good, because it's definitely meant for kids, but they are definitely embracing the world of the old trilogy and the new trilogy. And so, like, there's little Easter eggs that you'll find throughout it if you're already a fan of the movie. So I think it's actually really, really smart and a lot of fun. It's definitely family friendly, but I guess the whole series has been in some ways, right?
Oh yeah, that makes perfect sense.
It's like with them bringing on studio. Why am I brain farting right now? Ghibli.
Yeah,
Ghibli.
right.
Yep.
Or I mean the new Transformers cartoon is super badass.
Oh yeah, 4%. The season 2 is pretty good too.
And my daughter's favorite animated show on Netflix is Rhymetime Town. So if you're under the age of 4, I recommend that you watch it because it's the bee's knees.
They've got a lot of really good Japanese animes that come out too recently. Like one I
I
just watched recently,
consider,
Hunter.
Yeah, right.
Really
I
good.
like the Godzilla series they did was really
Yeah,
good too.
that was awesome too.
Yeah.
Shin Godzilla, is that what it was called?
Yeah, it's like an anime series called Godzilla. I gotta look it up.
It was great.
And the only reason I know this is because he's he's in my lexicon of podcasts, but Fat Man Beyond with Smith and Bernardine, they're ramping up to release Masters of the Universe, the animated edition on Netflix that like doesn't have a lot of chatter about right now, but that's gonna be fucking awesome.
They're making a live action He-Man movie too.
Yes, no, I heard about that as well. There's not as much about that, but like this is just because this is part of Netflix's 2020.
So this animated He-Man, are they still going to have a lesson at the end of every episode?
Prince Adam will regale you with why you should be a better person.
Correct.
I don't know. I mean, it's Smith and Bernardine who are giant nerds for the past. Like they like the original inception of it. And they brought back a lot of the original story writers for it too, so that
cool.
Still alive, so that they could keep the essence of what it is. So with that in mind, if you're bringing back the same writers, I don't know if that was a studio decision to be like put a fucking lesson in for kids, but if it wasn't, then we don't get it. So
I mean, it's not like they were super original lessons. I mean, they're basically Aesop tales, but just like, scripted slightly.
Totally.
But I was reading about that new live action movie, and I think I probably have concerns about it similar to Rob, in that it does seem to lack Dolph Lundgren.
He was the best part of the original one.
I'm a little concerned about that.
Remember how you're like, why is Ordo like a weird little Rumpelstiltskin guy, not some cool badass ghost? You're like, where'd the budget go on this movie?
He loved chicken.
Courtney Cox, that was her first movie.
Yep,
that's right.
Andrew McCarthy was in it too, right?
Who was?
Andrew McCarthy.
Oh, really?
I think he was.
He totally was. Yeah.
Yeah, he was Courtney Love's love interest,
boyfriend.
Yeah.
But really, she was into He-Man. Like, let's be honest.
Well, I'm looking at the time here, and somebody's going to be at the door any second. So let me just scroll over and look through the peephole and see who's here.
What else could that be?
Yeah, who could that be? All right. Well, somebody wants us to start the fucking debate, so let's see who it is this week.
106 miles to Chicago.
Okay, now I know who that is.
We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses.
Hit it.
Okay, Dan, let's hit it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the best part of the show. This is the debate portion where we get to argue about the most silly, ridiculous conversations that all of us can come up with for your entertainment. So this week on the show, I pressured Martin into letting me pick this one because really he's won every fucking debate of the year so far, so I'm not going to give him control anymore so that he has to work for it. With that in mind, this week's debate is inspired by that mostly commercialized holiday, Valentine's Day, which is right around the corner. And I decided, wouldn't it be fun to use all of the tropes and situations and smooth moves from any movie that you could think of and kind of come up with a weekend getaway of sorts and pick a female movie character that you would like to woo. And by the end of that weekend, she's so head over heels in love with you that she has to say yes, and you guys become an item. So the whole point of this is to kind of...
Well, Mike, she doesn't have to say yes.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Consent, buddy. Consent.
Okay.
Reel Debaters is 100% behind consent.
Thank you, sir. Yes, no, she's so charmed by you that she just wants to be with you because she chose to. There he is. That's the right way to say it. So, that's the only way to say it. Basically, we're trying to show you how romantic we may or may not be with this little argument we're going to have this week. So, as always, I came up with this bullshit idea. This was my brainchild. So I will go first. So I brought to the party the hooker with the heart of gold, as Rob said it. Vivian Ward from.
Sorry, do you want to stop sharing your screen because we can see your notes?
Oh, that's.
I don't know if you want us to know what you're going to say so we can have ammo. So you maybe want to do that. There you go.
I've already taken a screenshot, so just kidding.
Get the sound effects to work, but I can't stop screen sharing. One day I will wear all the hats, ladies and gentlemen. One day it's going to happen. All right. So like I said, I picked Vivian Ward, the hooker with the heart of gold from one of the best rom-com classics, Pretty Woman. My date starts out with something from 50 Shades of Grey.
Ooh.
and I can't wait for Martin's brain. Like, I'm just gonna milk this for a second because I know where he thinks. I think I know where he thinks I'm going, but it's just the intro to when Christian comes down and he swoops in with a helicopter. So I'm using a helicopter to take us away for the start of our date, and we're gonna fly over Winnipeg. I kept this local. It's a staycation, I should say. I should lead with, it's a fun getaway in my hometown, to kind of show her the sights and sounds of the city. So it's wine, charcuterie, and a helicopter ride over the city as the sun sets. Once we get into the evening, I've booked out a record shop. I booked out a local record shop in the Exchange, and I've taken the idea from Before Sunrise, because Ian Bawa kind of gave me this idea after he said he watched Before Sunrise a couple weeks ago. And what they do is there's just a scene where they go and listen to music together in a listening booth. It's really cute. It's really charming. It's a great meet cute scenario. But what I was kind of going to do was put a spin on it where I pick music I like, she picks music she likes, and then we trade off. So I listen to her records and she listens to mine. It kind of ends later on in the evening. We're still in town at this point. We haven't gotten away yet. Saturday morning, I took the idea from 10 Things I Hate About You. I thought, it's really fun. Like, I thought about the old dating shows, like the blind date shows where they make them do a challenge to kind of keep things fun and flirty. So I took the paintball war from 10 Things I Hate About You to do during the day, keep things light and energetic, not too much pressure, kind of show each other off a little bit. Saturday evening, we head to DeLuca's for a cooking class, which I stole from Hitch, where he has his allergic reaction, and they're cooking. Doing something together, kind of meeting for a goal, is a good way to kind of also get to know each other, I feel. At the end of the evening, at the end of dinner, I stole this. This is my this is one of my two big smooth moves. So at the end of the evening, I would take my DeLorean and I would fly back in time. This is stolen from Back to the Future, where Marty goes back in time to basically hook up his mom and dad so they meet, because he's changed the course of the future. I'm using that scenario to take Vivian back in time to when she kind of just chose to be a hooker, and like just change that completely for her. So Sunday morning, after all this fun has been had, I pull from Love Actually. I have a set of cue cards that I've written why I think we'd be such a great couple, how much fun we had over the weekend, and eventually end up with saying, do you want to go out by the end of the cue card drop? And that's it. That's my weekend. That's a weekend in Winnipeg. It's a staycation. We didn't stay together because it is kind of a first date, so that's pretty presumptuous of me to assume that she would have, we would have been staying together. But nonetheless, I planned a little staycation for me and Vivian to enjoy. Gentlemen, I give you the floor. Now, before Martin and Rob go, because I can see you, Colin, we go around the floor. They each get to chew me out for a second, and then I get the final word. So we'll go Martin, Rob, you, and then lastly to me. So Martin, please.
First, Rob, I'm gonna borrow your term, but I'm gonna spin it around. I went from 12 to 6 at the start of the argument to the end. Just the fact that you didn't look up the proper term for a sex worker. You don't like to be called hookers, Mike. Like, that's a big no-no. That's terrible. So definitely not voting for that.
What's the proper term? Is it
either sex worker or escort?
Oh, I thought it was sex consultant.
So it's just not hooker.
Okay.
You could have picked any term. You could have just Googled what is the proper term.
You could have said lady of the night.
Yeah, hooker is the one thing you don't say. That's not an acceptable term, so can't give you points for that. And it just, honestly, Mike, there was nothing memorable in your argument. It just, I don't know where day 1 and day 3 began or ended. I just cooking class and this, like, where did it all start and begin? There was no outline. It just felt like a bunch of things stringed together. And you said you had a Hail Mary. Where was the Hail Mary?
That was my DeLorean. That was my DeLorean.
That was Mike. You phoned it in, and it was your topic. I'm gonna be bluntly honest with you. You phoned it in, and it was your topic. Like you had free reign to do whatever you wanted with this topic, and you phoned it in.
All right, Rob.
Sorry.
Robert Zemeckis is upset with you for killing him with DeLorean. So first off, I mean, what kind of baller helicopter is available in Winnipeg? First off, so obviously you're picking her up in the helicopter that they larvicide ditches with for fucking mosquitoes. That's not sexy. Listening to music, I mean, is definitely not fucking COVID friendly right now. So I mean, I think you need to be cognizant of the pandemic that we're in right now and really, you know, tailor shit to that.
I'm sorry, I did not keep social distancing in mind when I planned this.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm just fucking with you. I feel like you Googled best date scenes from movies and then just picked the ones that you thought were the best and then put them together.
I
know because I Googled best date scenes in movies and that fucking fight, like I don't know, what was it, paint fight scene from fucking 10 Things I Hate About You, that popped up on those lists.
Sorry, I did the same thing, and that's why I did not go that approach. I'm like, these guys are probably gonna do this as well, so I'm gonna go different.
Well, you have to. You need a little inspiration, and I'm not. And Mike, I'm just busting your balls here because I mean, like we all have a huge repertoire of movies, but sometimes we need kind of a couple triggers to kind of go, oh yeah, what about that? And that ties everything in and gives you the perfect flow and the perfect story. But I feel like there was, like, you know, no cool Ferrari that you can't drive and she can drive because you can only drive automatic and she can drive stick. And
yeah, how do you drive the DeLorean? It's stick.
Yeah, man, you're fucked.
How do you go 88? You're gonna be grinding those gears. You're gonna stall from park to one.
Anyway, that's that. I rest my case.
It's so humbling being in this chair right now.
I know we're just fucking crushing you right now.
Yeah, no, I know, and that's the democratic thing about it because everybody sits in the seat. So, Colin, I'm gonna let you close this out before we give the floor to Martin here. Well, back to me, so I can speak my piece.
I mean, my immediate concern is that, and I mean, had you done some research, you would know that DeLucas only does those classes on Thursdays. So I feel that part of it was a little unrealistic. And
the DeLorean, though, is totally whatever.
That's where I draw the line. You can go anywhere in your DeLorean, but like, well, actually, you should have gone back to Thursday in your DeLorean.
Oh, that would have been the argument. Exactly, Colin. But they're like, we got to DeLucas on Friday, realized they don't have a cooking class, so I took the DeLorean, took it back to Thursday, and boom, now we have a cooking class.
And they don't do those cooking classes with COVID right now. I'm on their website right now. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, my face hurts from laughing so hard.
That was good.
That was great.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike, for that one.
You're welcome.
I know it's at your expense, but that was a good. I really enjoyed that one.
So, before we let Martin go at his turn here, I will say, Martin, yes, you were totally right that is the improper nomenclature, but it is also the review of the movie. So I am only repeating what other people have said in reference to the person from the movie, thus explaining canon. So in real life, yes, of course, I would use something like Lady of the Night or Sex Worker or Judy, because it doesn't fucking matter, whatever her name is.
Dick Consultant.
You don't even know her name? Like, this is the character you picked to go on a date with, and you don't even know her name?
I'll refer to her as Vivian. So, yes, fair enough. Good point. But we all know I'm pulling from some website I Googled. Which brings me to Rob's point. Yes, I completely Googled a list of dates because I literally explained I would be picking, like, this would be picking movie scenes and dates and using them in my movie. To Martin's point, after having said them out loud, I wouldn't want to go on this fucking date either because it's like in my head, none of you guys are here, so I'm like in my head, I'm like I'm fucking gonna nail it this week, and then I say it out loud to you, and I'm like, oh, that's a nosedive. So
what it's kind of like comparing the Bachelor US to the Bachelor Canada.
yes,
And like because the Bachelor US has this huge budget and they do these cool things, and you did the Bachelor Canada version of the Bachelor US. Helicopter ride in Winnipeg and
totally.
And then you have a DeLorean.
Yes.
You're like, what kind of cool car can we rent for not too much money and throw it into the last scene of the show?
Why did you get a helicopter? You have a flying car.
That's true.
Well, okay, I did say I pulled from Back to the
It literally needs garbage to run. Mr. Fusion.
And then lastly, to Colin's point, yes, I clearly didn't plan for what day of the week. I should have been a long weekend, clearly. Start on Thursday. That would have made everything a lot easier. But shout out to DeLucas and whatever companies rent helicopters in Winnipeg. It was not part of the debate, everybody did.
Hot air balloon.
Yeah,
hot air balloon.
That's Remax hot air balloon.
Wait, is DeLucas sponsoring this show?
No. This is my shitty attempt at hoping someone.
If they did, they're not after this one.
No, they're not. That's the thing, is that we're all like, yeah, sponsor the show, and then you're like, don't listen to it though, just sponsor it. Anyways, all right. So in honor of fallen trivia show host, I am done. Martin, the floor is yours, sir.
Was that the beat from Rock and Roll Jeopardy?
I don't know what Jeopardy it's from. It was just Jeopardy beep. That's the title of the sound effect.
They're all the same, actually.
So, yeah,
it's Jeopardy.
Yeah.
They keep the
Was
same
that your
stuff.
sarcasm that I didn't catch?
Yeah, I told you, Rob. He's not going to catch it.
Sorry, I fumbled. I dropped it right at the 2-yard line. But Martin, please tell us, who do you want to take on a weekend getaway, and what are you going to do?
Okay. Well, my original pick was Anakin Skywalker. You guys heard that pitch. This is my second best pick. I picked the movie Your Highness, and I'm going to be choosing Isabel, who was played by Natalie Portman. I think one of the cool things about relationships is when you're in one, the other person will introduce you to new things or experiences that you never thought you'd like and end up liking. So that's what I'm kind of building this whole date on. So I'll be bringing Isabel to our world. It's not going to be taking place in hers. It's going to be taking place in ours. And I built the date around activities which I think she might enjoy that exist in our world. And she comes from a medieval era where the main mode of transportation is a horse. So our mode of transportation for all our dates, I'll be picking her up on my steel horse, the 2012 Harley Davidson Softail that Captain America rides in the Avengers movies. And I do have my motorcycle license, so I know how to ride one. I'm good. And I just want to say, so all my dates have a theme. It's going to be dinner and some sort of activity. So for date one, what I picked was traditional dinner in a movie. So dinner will be at the Japanese steakhouse from the Beverly Hills Ninja movie, Hop Louie. That's what it's going to be. And it's similar, for those of you who don't know, never seen the movie, it's kind of similar to Ichiban in Winnipeg or Benihana in the USA. It's not just dinner, it's kind of an experience. And we will have that big fight scene that takes place in Hop Louie because, Isabel is a fighter. So I imagine she would appreciate a light workout as well during dinner. And I don't know if I mentioned this on the podcast before, guys, but I box. So in that fight scene, I can hold my own. What else do we have here? Sure. And you know what? Who wouldn't want to see Chris Farley live using 2 huge pieces of tuna as nunchakus? I'd love to see that live.
Tuna reference.
Exactly. Tuna. Boom. And it's funny, like when you're on a first date, is it just me or does everyone seem to know that you're on a first date? Like the whole room kind of knows. So someone at our table is going to ask, are you two on a first date? And then we'll be, yeah, we're on a first date. And I'm like, oh, what else do you guys have planned after this? And I'm going to say, we're going to a Sunny Chiba movie marathon at a local theater. And then the lady will ask, you're going to take your date to see a Kung Fu movie? And I'm going to be like, no, I'm going to take her to see 3 Kung Fu movies. Just like the line in True Romance, we're going to go see Street Fighter The Return, and Sister Street Fighter from the movie True Romance. I love that movie. So that's date 1. Date 2, dinner and a show. So like I said, I'm gonna be taking the character into our world. So she might be feeling a little homesick. So what I thought this second date would kind of help remedy that. We're gonna go to the medieval times restaurant from the Cable Guy. Um,
Oh, you're
and
really hamming this up.
I do know the manager at this place. So just like in the Cable Guy, we're gonna be partaking in the show. We're gonna put on some armor and we're gonna fight it out with some swords. Of course, I will be the Matthew Broderick character you know, in the whole thing. So I'm gonna be taking my own licks. But you know what? It's not about me. It's about her. This day is about her. It's not about me. So I'm okay with that. And obviously, we're gonna have that, the Star Trek Spock Kirk Duel of the Death theme playing while we're, you know, performing this act for the entire show. So that's date 2. Date 3, the theme of date 3 is dinner and dancing. This is going to be the more of the fancy of the 3 nights, 3 date nights. So where we'll be going? We'll be going to the Oak Room where they went in Scent of a Woman, and let's see here, whatever. Oh, and this is where finally these ballroom lessons that my mom and me take as a kid pays off, because you know what? I can tango just like Al Pacino. I know how. And I think she would get a kick out of this. And the beauty about ballroom dancing is your partner doesn't have to be good as long as the person who's leading is good at doing that. And I'm pretty good at dancing, so I think we do a wicked tango scene in the Oak Room. And to end off night 3, for a late night snack, I'm going to be taking to a fast food restaurant. We're going to go to White Castle. From Harold and Kumar, go to White Castle. And that is my date, my 3 nights.
All right. I will take the floor here first. I honestly think it's a really good weekend. And I definitely think it's better than my weekend. But where you lose me is we're all looking at her right now. And this thing in her hand right here, this is a bow, right? And she shoots arrows, right? And you box, right?
Yep.
And this is a bow, right?
So what is your argument?
My argument is, when you guys get into the fight, I don't know if you can hold your own. That's my only concern. I feel that she would be looking out for you because she's medieval and you're Martin. And then what would end up happening is she would lose interest because she's got to take care of you, and then the rest of the date falls short. I've
been boxing for 5 years. I've been in an amateur fight. I'll be fine.
No.
Like I'm not someone who tears their Achilles tendon doing a jig. That's not me.
This isn't about me. This is about you. So, but that's really my only thing, because like we're just looking through all these photos. Like, she's medieval. She's used to fighting like some pretty hard battles, and I feel that if there was a fight that you were even simulating, all I'm saying is that I think she would take control, and then that kind of changes the dynamic of the date. Taking you on a date and not taking her on a date. But so you don't get to talk yet.
Fight scene is still gonna happen.
You don't get to talk yet. We all get the floor. That's the rule. I gave you that. So
all right.
Rob is next.
How many hours do you have behind the motorcycle, riding a motorcycle?
Over 2 years.
But how many hours?
I don't know. I've been riding for like 2 years.
Okay, that's good response, and I will kibosh that off my list of arguments. I felt that there wasn't enough Minotaur dick necklace in here. And I also feel like if she's coming from like a medieval world to our world, there needs to be like maybe you should have taken her like clothes shopping or something, because maybe she's gonna feel out of place in her medieval garb. She might be like, why am I wearing a fucking corset? Nobody else is wearing a fucking corset. But yeah, that is all.
I'm trying to zoom in on the dick. There we go. That's it right there, right?
Yeah, that's it.
That's the Minotaur dick. All right. Colin, you're last, buddy.
I like the fact that that your date plays to your strengths, right? Like you incorporated your own abilities into the date, and the movie references were solid. The clothing thing, sure, but I mean, I like the fact though that you also took into account that you can visit a medieval restaurant, right? So that's a nice tie-in. I liked all the restaurant references, but I mean, did you think of DeLuca's at least once, or was that not an option?
I considered it, but you know what? Since they only do the cooking classes on Thursdays and
Yeah.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because I Googled that.
And it's not like they offer any like wild boar bearing boiling or whatever they would be doing, right?
Or Minotaur gutting.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's hilarious. Sorry, I'm
Does
laughing. a lot.
DeLuca offer archery?
No, my dad is actually the president of Manitoba Archery, so
Oh,
I
nice.
could take her on archery. I actually do bow hunt as well, so
Oh, I didn't know you were a skilled archer.
it's not something I brag about. I thought it's good as my boxing.
Debate.
Huh?
Then why didn't you use that in your debate?
Because I didn't want to take her archery. I said I wanted a theme based on, I wanted a consistent theme. I don't want to just take her to an archery range and not have a theme for that. Like I wanted dinner and a movie, dinner and a show, and then dinner and dancing. Those are my themes that I built the date on.
I appreciate that you were very humble and you said that you were a better boxer than an archer, but you were a
I am.
fucking awesome archer, so therefore you're an awesome boxer.
Well, I'm just imagining this fight that he's talking about, and it's like boxing against swords and boxing against bow and arrows, and like.
So can I tackle that?
Yes, you can.
Okay, so the fight is it's gonna be at the restaurant. It's still gonna be the same scene that happens in the Beverly Hills Ninja movie. It just won't be me fighting. So it'll have Haru fighting the guys, and it'll be his brother fighting the guys, and then whatever leftovers are gonna be what we're gonna handle. But I doubt there'll be many because they take on most of them themselves. But if there is, then we could handle it. So
Well, besides, you're having the battle at the medieval restaurant too, right? And you're
exactly, there's
in
gonna
the
be fighting there.
armor,
Yeah.
and One of you has a fucking mace or a flail, and the other one's got a joust or some shit. So really, I mean, maybe you're both at a disadvantage here. But she's gonna kick your ass. I mean,
She is, and that's what I said. It's gonna happen. I'm the Matthew Broderick character in this, and you know what? That's okay because, like I said, the night is not about me. It's about her and in getting her to experience things in our world. Right?
That's so sacrificial.
I feel like you're more the creepy Jim Carrey character, but that's just me.
There'll be no listening to records on night one of our
No,
dates.
I mean, you know a lot about TV, and I feel like he quotes TV lots, you quote TV lots. I mean, I think there's more similarities. You know, I can see you doing an awesome karaoke rendition of, Jefferson Airplane.
Baby. So that's it. Rob, you've got your points in. I've got my point. Like, I honestly think it's a great fucking weekend. I want to go with you. Would you take me away on a date now?
Mike, I wanted to take you on a bro date, but you wouldn't let me. You said females only.
Can I be your Anakin? Can I be your Anakin?
I want to give you outlets, Mike. That's all I want to do is give you outlets.
Martin wants you to be his Jar Jar, actually.
We're at the halfway point now. I hate that. Like, see, Martin plans so well that, like, he usually, when we're on together, I immediately am attached to Martin to vote for. I'm not
because he quit smoking weed, man. That's why.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking a lot more.
It.
Okay, maybe that's it. He's got his sleep schedule back on track, so he's got super brain focus. All right, okay. So, Alex, let's end this segment here. Rob, sir, you are next. And I know me and you both had said that we felt that we were throwing in Hail Marys today, which I think one of us has already proven. So are you going to back me up and be in the same? Are you going to be in the loser lounge over here, or are you going to pull it?
I mean, I feel like you tried, kinda.
I always try.
I feel like mine's going to be a teeny bit better than yours. When I say teeny bit, I mean quite a bit. But all jokes aside, I had a really hectic week, and I mean, I was thinking about this in the back of my head. So when I was having a shower, I was kind of like, my brain wandered and stuff. I was thinking, planning, and little tidbits would come up, and I'd run over and I'd write it on some Post-its on my desk and be like, okay, here's my plan. But really, I did my hard thinking about 35 minutes before the podcast today, and really, put the whole thing together. But so my date is going to be with Hela from the Thor Ragnarok movie. and everybody fucking loves that movie. I think most people I talk to, I would say that's definitely top 5 MCU movie for most people. Easily. I feel like it's the only movie where there's continuity, where everyone says that's one of my absolute favorite MCU movies. Played by Kate Blanchett. Obviously Hela is the daughter of Odin, right? She's the brother of Thor. She is the goddess of death in Norse mythology. Well, Hela is actually influenced by Hel, Hel, which is the goddess of death. But she's also known as the executioner of Asgard. So she's badass. She's a fucking psychopath. And you got to impress her by doing some despicable shit. So mine's not so much a full weekend, because I feel like I wouldn't be given a whole weekend, because she's just too fucking impatient. She'd be like, what the fuck? We got to get down to brass tacks and make this shit happen. So we're essentially going to do like an abridged tour of the 9 realms, but we're only going to go to the 3 of those realms, because 9's a lot, right? And nobody wants to go to the Frost Giant place, fucking cold and stuff. So first off, we're going to, inspired by 2011 Zookeeper, starring Kevin James, we are going to go to a giant Asgardian wolf sanctuary. And this is where giant Asgardian wolves are bred. And it's almost like a petting zoo of sorts, but more like a feeding zoo. And we're basically going to feed live rabbits, particularly more on the bunny side, to set Asgardian wolves, really to kind of get the date going and kind of, get her evil like on track. And she's seeing, whoa, this guy's like willing to feed live bunnies to, Asgardian wolf pups. Like, he's my kind of guy, right? Then we're going to jump on then we're going to get into the old Bifrost, and, we're going to shoot it over, what was the planet we're going to go to? Nidavellir, which is the land of the dwarves. And before we wreak havoc on the dwarves, because that's what's going to happen, we're gonna stop for a light snack, and this snack is going to involve ale, of course, right? I mean, Asgardians, Norse, and assorted baby animals. So whether it's lamb, whether it's veal, an assortment of those types of things, because it's extra cruel. And then, inspired by Conan the Barbarian, we are going to invade and pillage a village. It's not going to be Sumerians that we're going to be killing. Instead, we are just going to slaughter tons of the dwarves of Nidavellir, which is one of the realms of the 9 realms, right? And that's just going to show her, she's going to see that, like, I got nothing holding me back, that pillaging is in my blood, raiding a village of innocents is just, what I do. And that's really going to, wow her. And she's going to be like, yes, this is going to be my partner in crime. Then we're going to shift gears and we're going to close the night out. We're going to hop in the Bifrost again, and we're going to go to Midgard, and we're going to go to Earth. And we're specifically going to go to Santa Cruz. And if you guys know anything about Santa Cruz, there's, the Oceanside Carnival with the rides and stuff. And it was actually the inspiration for the fictional Santa Carla in the Lost Boys movies. So we're gonna end the day, or the whole, tour of the 9 realms here. And we're going to play a bunch of games of chance, but in advance, I set up these games of chance so they're extra cruel. So, the ones where you've got like the darts where you're throwing them at balloons, or you got the shooting thing, everything is going to be around shooting innocents. And, whether that's, I'll let you paint your own picture on what that means, but it's cruel AF. And then we're going to be doing some deadlifting of Mjolnir. I'm not going to do very well, but she will fucking kill it at that shit. And then we're going to have some racing vampires on dirt bikes to close out the night on the beach. Because, that's just a cool fucking thing to do. I've got no smooth moves that I can do with her, because if I try any quote unquote smooth moves, she will fucking destroy me because she's Hela, right? So I've got to impress her by showing her how evil and despicable I am. And I think this date really, showcases that.
Martin, what do you think?
Well, I want to give you props because when you were going through date one, and then I guess before like day two, I was like, "Where's all the conquering? Like she's a conqueror." Whereas, and I give you props for that. Pillaging a village, that's something that's right up Hella's alley. My one qualm with it is, do you have a lot of like if Mike's in a call, do you have a lot of experience pillaging? Because she does. I worry about you in that pillaging role. That's the one thing. And my other small one, um, the carnival games, they are rigged to lose, and I just feel that if Hella loses them, she's just gonna bury the whole Santa Cruz carnival. She's just gonna go apeshit on everybody, and that's my one thing. But I like I like your date ideas. I like that you visit different realms. I like how you use a lot of things regarding the MCU and Thor, like the Bifrost to get around, which is a great tool and it can get you there. It's a good way to do that, and I really liked that date. And you were right. It's way better than Michael's. So good job.
Fuck, somebody else stole my comment because I was gonna be like, I agree with you, Rob. It is better than mine. I think what I missed was I took a character and I didn't include enough things that Vivian enjoys. Like I didn't take her shopping. I didn't take her in a Ferrari. Like I should have. I'm jealous of both of your attempts to woo her in a way that is about them as opposed to
Yeah.
I was just trying to be like
Yeah.
fucking the
You
shit.
looked up the list on the internet. That's what happened.
Yeah.
You looked up a list on the internet. You're like, this is what I'm gonna do on my date. I don't know if she likes it or not, but this is what we're doing. How could you not like it?
But this works awesome in all these other rom-coms. How could it go wrong for me?
Yeah. No, and you need the story from all the other 5 rom-coms for it to work. But like the one thing I'm kind of with Martin on this too, you want to be yourself. And I know you pretty well. So if it's you taking out Hella, I mean, it's only a matter of time. Like, have we all seen The Lobster where Colin Farrell fakes being evil? And then when they go and kill his brother who's been turned into a dog, he has to out himself because he's not as evil as the woman he's trying to be like. That's my only thing is that your fear of smooth moves is also a fear of if she really finds out that you're just a great guy, then you're fucked.
You're so goddamn likable, Rob.
Yeah.
You're so goddamn likable.
I could kill a man with my bare hands.
Okay, sure.
Have you?
No, this is not the time or the place or even where you'd start with that. Yeah, yes, I have. On a podcast, I've killed people. Fuck. Colin, what do you think of some time with Hella?
I like that you were going in extremely assertive, and I think I realized, like, I think it sounds like a great series of dates. I think I could have applied much of that to my college days, where I was very unsuccessful at dating. I like that you brought up Asgardian wolf pups. I think I'll give you points for that. Just that won me over by itself. And I was just going to say that if you're looking for lamb, you might want to check out DeLuca's.
I love how you deliver that with a straight face, Colin. That's the best. DeLuca's.
It's not. I think it's more like prepared. Like they have veal too, but it's up to you.
They have an accoutrement of baby animals for sale.
Yes, that's on their website, I think.
Jesus Christ! I hope someone from DeLuca's is listening.
Oh man, this is the most we've ever dropped DeLuca's in one podcast.
Like I was just trying to be like, shout out to DeLuca's without shouting it out. Now it's like DeLuca's is brought to you by the Reel Debaters.
Yeah.
Not the other way around.
Whether they know it or not, that's what it is now.
Exactly.
We're gonna go there to look at espresso machines and try to do like a remote podcast there, and they're gonna be like, "What are you guys doing? Shh, don't worry about it. We're plugging your restaurant. We're plugging your store."
All right, Rob, you get final say, buddy.
I think I already made the comment. I mean, obviously, I feel that I am evil enough to go toe to toe with Bella.
I forgot.
I can't even say that straight face. I mean, I just wanted to choose something that was completely out of the box, and it wasn't going to be cliche. And
Not from a list.
pardon?
Not from a list.
Yeah, I didn't want to have to Google some shit. No, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I think to your point, whether I'm evil enough to actually do all these things, probably not. I feel like I've seen enough movies though, and I've read enough fantasy and read enough comic books that my pillaging skills would be on par. And yeah, that's all.
Fair enough. Alex says, and now to our special guest, Colin Lougheed. You get to close us out and convince us that you're better than Rob's, because I'm torn between the two, but I'm leaning more towards Rob's right now. Martin, where are you at? Where do you feel calibrated at for your vote? Or you don't feel like you want to let it go yet?
Well, there's only two choices so far, so I know which choice I'm not picking.
All right.
Well, yeah, it's awesome, not awesome.
All right, Colin, buddy, you have the floor. Tell us who you want to take out on a weekend getaway.
I was actually, I was gonna just say, because Martin was talking about like the failed pitch thing, and I was just gonna say that like my first pitch was gonna be Sarah Connor date, and then I was just gonna keep doing like this reverse hitch thing where I would show her what her future was gonna look like and just visit all of the Terminator movies. It was going to be a total cop out, really cheap. And then I started thinking about like, then you've got your time paradoxes, and you'd probably be eventually killed by a Terminator. And she's super into exercise by 1991. Like she's doing chin-ups on overturned beds, and it's all a little too intense, right? So I thought, I'm gonna date a tornado hunter. Now, before I get into this, I'm going to just say that I actually have a little bit of tornado hunting experience. Back in, I think it was 2013, I took this extreme weather course at U of M, and it actually concluded with a tornado chase. And we got to spend a few days traveling around in the States trying to find inclement weather. So we learned about how tornadoes form and how to find them and how to do it safely, all of which I've long forgotten. But anyway, with that little ice pellet of confidence, I thought I could win the heart of Dr. Joe Harding from Twister, who was played by Helen Hunt, who I had a bit of a crush on. So, she's smart and she seems fun, and her hair always looks great in the most extreme wind, which she just refuses to tie up. So our date would start with scrunchy shopping. No, that's not true. So I have to look at this like it's before the events of Twister. Okay, so because once Bill Paxton's on the scene, it's like, it's game over, man. It's game over. So here's what's great about this is that you can actually like introduce yourself by talking about the weather. It's the biggest bullshit opening you could ever wish for. So let's say it's late Friday, and I guess like she'd be at her research facility, and I guess I'm working there or something as a vending machine assistant or something. I'd wear my best khakis to impress her. And I'd intro a little bit by talking about this storm chasing class that I took. Like not boastfully like that asshole Dr. Jonas, but I'd have to be confident. So I was thinking I'd talk about the unpredictability of storm development and try to relate it to chaos theory like Ian Malcolm did in Jurassic Park with the water droplets. But I'd be using Sprite, which I stole from the vending machines. So I'd ask her out, I'd be like, this is an area of low pressure, but would you go out on a date with me this weekend? I realize I'm an F1 and you're a total F5. And then I'd choke on my words because I was scared. And then I'd say, but I guarantee this date will not enter the suck zone. And then I guess she agrees to it because we have to get into Saturday. So on Saturday, I would pick her up at her house and I'd tell her that we were going storm chasing. And so I'd tell her, in order to do that, to get the ideal conditions for a tornado, we obviously need a warm front, we need a cold front, and an updraft. So I figured we'd start with the cold front first, and we'd go to maybe Puxtawani, where we'd go to that diner in Groundhog Day, because storm chasers like shitty food. And I figured she'd enjoy the weather history behind the town, right? And then after that, we do the warm front, which would be a beach. Like I was thinking, like maybe the one. Well, I was thinking maybe at first the one in Castaway, because it has the storm developments. But I was thinking maybe like the one in Forgetting Sarah Marshall, so we could go surfing. And I thought surfing would be the way to go because she likes adventure, and then this way we could rent bodysuits and she wouldn't have to see me shirtless. So then the updraft part of it, I thought skydiving, because you feel an updraft on your face or whatever. I don't know. I don't know how I describe that. But anyway, I thought we'd rent from the same outfit that the presidential bandits used in Point Break. Except our free fall would be like less threatening and far less sexy. And I don't know if I'd actually be able to jump, but I'm gonna force myself to do it, right, to impress her, because she likes danger, and I'm trying to be the other extreme, the new Bill Paxton motherfucker. So then it's Saturday night. And I thought for dinner, I was just hoping that she'd invite me over her aunt's house, like in Twister, because I'm obviously broke after renting the plane. And I would encourage her to invite her storm chasing friends, because I think it's going to be important for her to see that I'm trying to get to know her circle, right? But that would only be on the condition that she invited Philip Seymour Hoffman. And then I'd ask if we could meet again tomorrow on Sunday to try the chase out. So now it's Sunday, and I'm confident that there's going to be tornado action. I checked my app, and I thought we'd have some fun beforehand. So I'm referencing. I don't know if anybody's seen this, but it's a comedy from 1981, and it's called "Take This Job and Shove It." And it's the first appearance of the monster truck Bigfoot. So I would say something like, "Hey, I found this new storm chasing truck I wanted you to see. You want to give her a try? Want to give her?" And so we would go on this fun ride. Now, like, the Bigfoot, to be fair, has appeared in far better movies, at least 2 Police Academy movies. But the reason that I chose Take This Job and Shove It is because the whole movie is about this guy who's trying to save some breweries. So I thought we could get aluminum cans from these breweries to use for the sensor thingies to put into Dorothy, that tornado study machine that they put into the back pickup. So, this is all occurring pre-Twister, of course, so she'd be completely amazed at this suggestion, because it's the first time she's ever heard about using cans for this thing. So I beat that asshole Bill Paxton to the punch. So you better believe she's going to sign those divorce papers. And then we get into the storm chase. So at this point, I would just insert us into any action sequence from Sharknado 1 through 6. It doesn't fucking matter which one, because as soon as Joe saw those sharks, she's going to be very excited and passionate. Oh, so passionate. And I don't know if I could just if I could just have a chance to chainsaw one of those while they were flying over or whatever, it's game over, man. It's game over. So yeah, fade out on Joe and myself making out as this giant shark goes right through Bill Paxton's windshield, I guess. I just realized how much I miss Bill Paxton in like everything.
Right?
God. By the way, when I was on that storm chase, my instructor, who is a meteorologist, like they played Twister in the vehicle that I was in while we were traveling around in the States. And I guess it's like, it's a cult favorite with that crowd because they think it's just the biggest joke. Like they say the science doesn't make any sense and there's all sorts of inconsistencies with everything. Anyway, sorry, I digress. That's my date idea.
All right.
They were playing Twister the game.
Yeah, that's what I thought. In the van while you're driving.
Oh no.
Different thing. That'd be awesome.
Right foot green.
Hell of an icebreaker.
All right. Rob, you go first.
I have to say your smooth move lines were fucking on point. I'm an F1 and you're an F5, and I can guarantee that this date won't go into the suck zone. Like you're like the cheesy meteorological play on words was pretty awesome. I like how you kind of like had the start of a porno movie at the beginning where you're like, at the research lab, I'm the vending machine technician in my tight khakis, and but I mean, other than the fact that you obviously have a fucking magic carpet because you guys are going from fucking Tornado Alley in the Midwest to fucking Pennsylvania for fucking breakfast.
Wait, did I mention that Mike lent me his DeLorean?
I was for that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot to mention that.
I did like the fact that the sharks NATOs kill Bill Paxton at the end. That was cool. I didn't really understand you chainsawing the
Well, I just thought that was cool when Ian Ziering did it.
I've never seen the movies.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to.
He chainsaws a lot of sharks, and I just thought that maybe
cool.
Joe would think it was cool.
I think it's cool.
I think it's cool. I would think you're a hunk if you did that in front of me.
That's awesome.
I've never used a chainsaw, so I know it's unrealistic.
I'm assuming a chainsaw can do a lot of damage to meat. So
yeah, makes sense. And
I've chainsawed a lot of things playing Doom, so I assume that it's probably similar.
I think the chainsawing of sharks could be applicable to your date, Rob, very easily.
I totally agree. It's just I'm very against shark fin soup, so I feel like I would have a moral dilemma with that one.
But these are evil sharks.
Even so, I only kill innocents and baby animals.
Okay.
And villages of dwarfs on from other realms.
It's not murder if it's in another realm.
Obviously.
Martin, you go.
Outside their jurisdiction, bro. That's not a Midgard's jurisdiction. Suck it.
I really liked the joke when you said we're gonna go scrunchie shopping, and then you said no, that's not true. I wish you said it. I thought you should have opened with that. That would have been the first thing that I would have thought too, because her hair's blowing throughout the entire movie. How does that not like when I don't have that long hair, but when I do grow it out, it gets in my eyes all the time, and I sometimes have to tie it up. But then you brought it back with, like Rob said, your smooth move lines, and that was great. I thought that made me laugh. Where you lost me though is in the middle of the date. It felt kind of there could have been something more than just dinner at the grandparents' place. What I would have liked to see is like, did you consider DeLuca's as a place for
there it is,
catering or something? Yes! DeLuca's. Yes! See, maybe they could cater the dinner. You can get some lamb veal.
Just to be clear though, that was like this is like 9 p.m., 10 p.m. They're closed.
You can pre-order though, right? And
pre-order balsamic vinegar.
Yeah. Pre-order. So, right. But yeah, that's where I was. Yeah, I thought you were gonna go there. I'm like, oh, there's gonna be a dinner. Like, is he gonna mention DeLuca's? Is he gonna mention DeLuca's? But he didn't. That's
right.
the one part. But then you brought it back with the Sharknado references, which I love too as well. With the chainsaw was funny. I love that stuff. And I love the hate for Bill Paxton throughout the whole movie. Just like, yeah, and a tornado shark goes through his windshield, which is awesome. Like, I love that whole hate throughout the whole thing.
Bill Paxton's the most undeserving of anything like that. He was just so great.
He was.
But,
And good
but
job.
I'm
That was good.
competing against him, right? So I had to be mean.
Yeah. No, I liked it. Good job.
I'm just gonna be a mouthpiece for what these two have said because I agree with everything. The only thing that wasn't brought up yet was the use of Sprite as Ian Malcolm's smooth move from Jurassic Park. Your genre blending there, I thought that makes. I have a Ian Malcolm Funko Pop, so you immediately had me there. The aluminum cans to make Dorothy, the dream of hers, that like using all of the canon, but you're the hero with the canon is such a great idea. Because what does she need the movie to happen now that you've brought everything to her, including A Life Without Bill Paxton? Damn it, Martin! I was going to bring up my own DeLucas, but now I got nothing. So. Yeah, so that's that. One final say for you, Colin, or do you feel confident in what you've presented?
I never really feel confident when talking about dating, so I don't know if that will ever be the case. But I guess I have nothing left to say.
Well, that's fine because we're at that lovely moment where the last debate has taken place. Let's, for just posterity's sake, say that everybody must vote today in the chat room of the Zoom app, not the chat room that we've all been talking in. I forget to clarify that. That's my bad. So in the Zoom chat room is where you're going to place your vote. If this is your first time listening, this is basically where we all go over what we've presented to the group and figure out what the best version of the debate is. I still have yet to figure out the perfect music for this part. There's got to be some really fun trivia music out there that we can play, but one day I'll trip over it.
Jeopardy.
Yeah, the sound effect for like the ending thing is as much as I feel okay taking from Jeopardy, because the music is music. But that's a smart idea. We'll figure something out like that.
Why don't you just do ta-da and then
I've got this, right?
Drum roll, yeah, drum roll it.
So we've got that for now. I think I deserve one of these. It hasn't been handed out yet, but after having heard the three of you,
deserve a fucking raspberry for your fucking date.
yeah, no.
A Razzie? Yeah, a Razzie.
So here's today's Razzie noise.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
I came up with that as the Razzie. I shall give myself the Razzie because it's fucking. I'm gonna pick from a list. Anyways, I feel
Voting's a lot more difficult. Sorry, I just want to say voting's gonna be. It's harder than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
You know what, Mike? I have to say one thing though. I feel like you did put at least 17 minutes into your preparation for this, so I really appreciate those 17 minutes.
Thanks, guys. No, yeah, I'm not gonna come up with excuses because if you're not first, you're last. Quote. So
Never anybody with two first names.
yeah.
Boy, Ricky B.
Ricky B coming back from the last debate. So everybody good? Everybody confident? They're ready to vote?
My person in here.
I gotta type my name.
I'll type mine in here too.
Okay.
Okay.
On let me get everything ready.
I just want to say the vote was close, very, very close.
On 9, is that what we're gonna do? We're gonna hit enter on 9.
No, I'll do the drum roll again, and then as soon as the drum roll hits the thing, that's when it hits the snare, we'll go in. So on 3, 2, 1. Oh wow! It's unanimous across the board. Colin, you win.
What?
I'm not surprised that was going to happen because I know how much care he puts into the humor that he makes. So I was like, there's no way he's coming in not wanting to win this. So, Colin, thank you very much for your offerings.
I voted for you just because of your mustache.
Oh, yes.
Because everybody likes a good mustache ride.
Martin,
I thought that's what you meant when you said magic carpet ride.
I voted for a couple reasons. One because you made DeLuca's a running theme, and I fucking love that. That was the best part of it. Two, you just really stitched it all together and made it from movie, from not movie, charming, cheesy as fuck, like something that I tried to do and clearly failed and dropped the ball at. So that was.
You were able to Google that.
Yeah, you couldn't Google. That was natural, organic thought. That wasn't something you could find on the.
I was kind of scared at first because like when you started yours and everything was so realistic, I'm like, oh my god, I'm fucked because I just plunking myself into fictional situations. But then by the time we were talking about the slaughtering of dwarves, I felt a little bit better.
My second was Martin, just because of like Colin made a story, but you take such care at creating, like curating something. Like you're very precise in that. I love the ode to Al Pacino and the tango and shit. That's a good throw in, because that's fucking the opening sound effect to the show is "You Can't Handle the Truth" from Jack Nicholson, and then "You're Out of Order" from Son of a Woman.
Hoo-ah!
Wow.
Yeah, no, Rob, you had me. I just like it was just, it's not a date. It's torture porn.
No.
Yeah, it has to be with her.
Like, you have to look at the context of it, of who I'm trying to impress.
Oh, I know, and that's what
The goddess of death. She's the executioner of Asgard.
It was close, Rob. Your vote and Colin's are very.
We're not going bunny petting. I guess I could have put like of mice and men thing in there where, like, you know, Lenny's breaking the its head next.
Pet the rabbit, George. Pet the rabbit.
Oh shit. Well, that's the show. Let's end this. Who's gonna care?
I'm an F1, you're an F5, and this date I guarantee won't go to the suck zone.
That is 100% a fucking poll quote. That's exactly what you're getting on Saturday.
That's got to be the snip drop.
I think Rob also nailed what I sound like. This ain't going to the suck zone.
I assume that you're kind of gonna have like this southern drawl, Midwestern kind of thing going on.
Yeah. Also, it's important to note that I look like Ian Malcolm and I'm showing a lot of chest.
I thought when you were gonna ask her out, like with Ian Malcolm with the Sprite, you would have like 5 buttons unbuttoned on your shirt, and then your khaki pants hiked way up. That would have been awesome.
Do your cactus have pleats?
Apparently, I won't be shirtless. So
You're still wearing a shirt. You're still wearing a shirt, just unbuttoned.
Yeah, that's true.
He's shown so much cleave in that. It's amazing. The sexiest photo of Ian Malcolm comes from Jurassic Park. I think we can.
Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum. Ian Malcolm. Well, Jeff Goldblum. Yeah, it depends on who you look at him from.
He was pretty shredded in The Fly, though.
Movie that Jeff Goldblum has ever been in, though.
Sorry,
I like almost naked Jeff Goldblum from The Fly.
Yeah, he was super shredded in that, like just stacked.
Yeah, man, like, he's pulling teeth out. Like, there's nothing sexier than pulling teeth out of your mouth.
How he eats donuts, how he eats them, and then he has to puke them back up with that acid. Invest them again. I think a Fly remake should be done. What do you guys think? No.
Who are they gonna cast?
Remake.
Are they gonna cast Adam Driver?
Adam Driver would be a good in a third rendition of it, but don't forget, like The Fly, like Lynch's.
I would do a sequel, not a
remake.
A sequel.
Yeah, it is. Well, yeah, it's a classic. It's a classic horror from what, the 40s or the 50s or something.
50s, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the 50s movie? It's so bad with like the fly body and the guy's head. Whoa.
I haven't seen it, but I've seen it in like a montage of like cinema over the years. That's one of the shots they used to show how bad facial making was back in the day. Yeah. Well, Good show. This is always a weird part. There's got to be some way to transition out of this shit. I don't know. Maybe I'll talk to you, Colin. You work in radio. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to another Reel Debaters production. You can find all things related to us at thereeldebaters.ca. You can email the show. You can buy merch. You can donate to the show if you want. We'll put it back into production costs and make this as good as possible for you. There's the cast bios that are there of all of us. Basically, thereeldebaters.ca is the central one-stop shop for all things us. We have nothing coming up until we're allowed to get together. So
Soon. I feel it's going to be soon.
You think it's going to be soon?
Mm-hmm.
I hope it's going to be soon.
I think by end of March.
Okay. All right. We'll put that up on the wall. We'll put a date marker around that and see where we're at end of March. Martin, do you have anything coming up out there yet? Or are you allowed to do shit?
No, we're not. I think our next thing is March. We're going to take a visit again in March, see if events are back up. So nothing going on yet.
Colin, do you have a YouTube channel up yet for your stuff?
I do have a YouTube channel, which I neglect quite a bit. So never look at it.
All right. Perfect.
Do you have a blog where you write one-liners on how to pick up meteorologists?
I'm glad you asked.
Oh, shit. Well, Colin, thank you so much did you have a good time? That's all we really care.
I did. Thanks for having me, guys. I think you guys are very well versed at what you're talking about. So I felt a lot of pressure coming in here, but you were very hospitable, and I thank you.
Good. That's all that matters. That and that I always make a fucking fool out of myself. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening again. I have been Micheal Petrow. This is going to be fun. This is how we do it. Who's in Vancouver?
I have been Martin Navarro, played by Ricky Bobby.
And Wolseley, who's up out there?
This is Rob DeLuca Strachan.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Watch all the movies. Bye-bye.
Sorry, Mike, I had to pick on you.